turn on your notification bell. You will still get those information you are looking for. Thank you.
We nearly removed Jonathan through military coup. General Kukasheka Osman is saying this. He's a retired Nigerian army general. He said that an attempted coup d'etat to overthrow President Goodluck Jonathan in 2010 was foiled because himself, Kukasheka Osman, and General Dambazwa refused to act on it. He said the then chief of army staff, the Abdulrahman Dambazwa, was part of it. He said he managed the violent overthrow that was brewing coup among the military top brass. He was among. He got the information, but he said they refused to act on it. He said when we stayed for the 4 reference hospital, Kaduna, people were asking, when is the announcement going to be made about taking over the government? He said, I'm so happy General Akinyemi, the GOC 3 Armored Division, is still alive. You can ask him, Mr. Osman was saying. He was speaking at the 2022 Blueprint newspaper's annual public lectures and Impact Awards on Tuesday in Abuja. You see, this is what happened. During that period, that the president then, Umar Musa Yar'Adua, was having issues with his health, and the government then was trying to cover it up. At a point, he died, and they wanted to cover it up so that Nigerians wouldn't know what's happening. So when it became obvious that the vice president would take over, that's Goodluck Jonathan, you see what the Northerners did that time, even the Torah Yar'Adua, the wife in Colonel Evans with other Northern elements. They wanted to keep that power at all cost. So for the people of one Nigeria, you've seen it. So when they failed to do it, at the point when Yar'Adua when he was leaving Nigeria, you see, they shut the airport down. Off the lights, and so that nobody will see how Yar'Adua is being bundled out or inside Nigeria then. So all these things were the conspiracy they did. So when all these ones failed, they now wanted to overthrow Jonathan through a coup d'etat. You see what this man is saying? He said the international community showed concern to the extent that they had to meet with him, where he promised that he would not take over the government. That's what Mr. Osman said. He said some politicians were also involved in the front coup. These politicians, they were involved. They said everything reached advanced stage, remaining Mr. Dambazwa to set everything in motion. Thus, it's only a phone call. Dambazwa will set everything in motion. You see? He said, but General Akinyemi, General Dambazwa would have been head of state. That's General Dambazwa, of course, would have been head of state. But he resisted that temptation. He said the retired brigadier general claimed that Mr. Akinyemi, a retired major general, led the armored division in Jos for several years. That's this Akinyemi, you see. So he said, in essence, what he's saying is that he's saying it with every sense of responsibility, that this is what happened. You see. So they planned this thing, but it did not work out because of some certain things. He said a simple phone call to him, that's General Akinyemi, to roll out the tanks, and General Dambazwa would have been head of state. So this Akinyemi refused to roll out the tanks from what this man is saying, and he just told us that Mr. Akinyemi is a retired major general. He led the armored division in Jos for several years. You see what happened? He said, but despite the public asserting directed knowledge of the coup efforts, Osman went on to say that Osman did not clarify whether Jonathan was briefed about it or not. This is immaterial now, whether Jonathan was briefed or not. We're not talking about that one. What we are saying is that look at what happened during that period. You see. So these things are revelations, so that exposure, so that expository so that we begin to see, and the people we are dealing with, how they take us. This man is a minority. From the jaw, for the first time, a minority is leading Nigeria, and they want to remove him. Buhari have said it, that he will make this country ungovernable for Jonathan. And so he did. And so he did. A lot of people died when Buhari lost to Jonathan, and he refused to concede defeat. Crisis erupted, some part of the north, where many lost their lives. But Jonathan said, my ambition is not worth of a life of a Nigerian. Yes, a single Nigerian doesn't want it. My ambition doesn't want a life of a single Nigerian. And so he considered defeat to avoid violence, because the current president is a violent person. He was a mediator, like we said. He was a mediator to Boko Haram. This Buhari. Yes, he was a mediator in 2012. Boko Haram insurgents named Buhari their mediator or emissary for peace talks with the government in 2012. But it did not work out. So this is what this man has said they did. This is what they did. So these people, they are not ready to yield or to abdicate power. So for the 2023 election that is forthcoming, you begin to understand it. Juxtapose what has happened now, where they wanted to remove Jonathan at all costs, even to coup d'etat. Jadam Bazu we're talking about was plotting all these things, but it didn't work out because this Akinyemi was not cooperating. You see what happened? And so then Bazu later joined the campaign of Buhari, because Jonathan removed him immediately. Yar'Adua later died in 5th, I think that 5th of July or May or thereabout. So, but that's 2010. That same 2010 September, Jonathan removed Dan Bazua, the chief of army staff. And so in 2014, he joined the campaign of Buhari. And when Buhari won, he became a member of the cabinet. I think that should be Interior Minister. Abdurrahman Dambazo, retired, you see. So this is what happened, and this is what the Northerners have been doing. Keep power at all cost. Keep power at all cost. So the way they are doing things, coup, they are still plotting coup. Politicians are plotting coup with military. They did that during this period to take over power at all cost, to undermine Jonathan, who was the vice president. The Northerners fought, did everything within their powers to conceal the death of Yar'Adua. They did everything. It didn't work. And they resorted to coup. And unfortunately or fortunately, that coup did not work out for them.